Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Congratulations, you made it. So I can see you're not my usual crowd. I mostly know 99.9% of the people sitting in the crowd. So I am Sara Gallian. I'm the SDV program manager. And I would like to ask you a question to make sure you're not sleeping. How many of you know about the Software Defined Vehicle working group? Please raise your hands. OK, well, I can work with that. That's good, but by the end of this talk, I hope all of you will know about it. So I'm going to go through let's say, a summary about how the working group was built, what is our history so far, where we are today, and what we are looking forward to in the future. So first things first. Software-defined vehicle, nice, cool, but what does it mean and what is the mission? Because I think software-defined vehicle is probably, after ChatGPT, the most searched word in the internet. But what do we as a working group want to achieve? So we want to create a forum, both for individuals and organizations, to build and promote open source software, specifications, and most importantly, open collaboration models. And finally, we, of course, want to create something, right? So we want to have something out of this whole and nice community. So we want to create a scalable, modular, extensible, and most importantly, industry-ready, open source, licensed vehicle software platform, both in vehicle and around the vehicle, which means not only in vehicle, but also in the cloud. So that sounds quite promising, right? So I want to start with a brief history. You might be familiar with the world of automotive, but if you are not, just let me tell you, it's really tough. And everyone's been working individually, and all of the organizations were islands, right? There were the tier ones, there were the OEMs, and then as complexity increased, the OEMs decided, oh, I'm going to do everything in-house. And then they went through a hiring spree, and then they realized they couldn't find any developers. And so they were like, uh-oh, so maybe we need to work together. And so OEM, tier one, but also everyone along the chain basically realized that the complexity was simply too big to tackle alone. So slowly but steadily, they did decide, hey, it's better to collaborate. But of course, we cannot collaborate on our business cases, so we collaborate on non-differentiating software. And so hence was our fantastic working group born in March 2022. So it's been 1.5 years, but it feels like, like a long time. So what happens just after the creation? So we really embrace the motto code first. And what code first means is that we are onboarding a lot of software. So our organizations, our members, they know how to write software. Well, some can argue, but they have software that work, at least your car's not crashing every day, and they contributed it to us. But of course, that was completely unstructured. It really was code first. So we onboarded like everything, and we ended up with what Michael defined the SDV cake, which is, for some reasons, I don't know why, it's a word that and a comparison that really stuck with us. So, because I guess everyone likes cake. So nice, good. Now we have a cake. Everyone give us a piece. What do we do with this cake? Well, single organizations, they come together, they give us code, but we need to start building a community. And this is something I think is setting a milestone in switching our get-together meetings from Developers Day to Community Days. It is only a name, but it's really important. And it means that we focus on creating a community. And we started doing it in Lisbon, and everyone wanted to come to Lisbon, which helped. And so the transition was started there. We also realized having developers and architects on board and really working together, it's fantastic, but they need to get a paycheck. So first thing first is we need to get senior managers on board. And we realized that this needs, for sure, a mentality shift. This is why we organized and we ran in June the Automotive Open Source Summit, which was the first step in the right direction. And then afterward, what is the next step? We are getting the developers together. We started to get the senior managers on board. There's a lot of work to be done yet, but we are getting there. The next thing is we have a cake. How do we make it work? So we focus then on project integration. And we run the SDV blueprint, which I'm going to talk to you more about later. And we also started to onboard tool projects. And then finally, we are here today, where we had our third community day. So, I mean, all of this, of course, would not be possible if we didn't have an extremely various set of members on board. So we have right now 31 members. We continue to onboard new members, but I really want to stop at 42, so that's your last chance to join, because it needs to stay. There's just one more. And right, no, we have really brought the whole spectrum. We have technology providers, we have tier ones, and we have some OEMs. We could do better there, but I think it's a nice crowd. And we are global. I mean, of course, we are, most of our members are from Europe, Germany, because historically the automotive sector was funded here, but we are doing our best to expand. And this is also where I would like to reach out to you with my first request. It's the first of many, but I would like you to try and spread the word as globally as you possibly can. So we now have members in US, more than one. We are just now reaching out to Asia, but we truly are global. And first and foremost, we needed a bigger room at the EclipseCon, which is already a sign of big achievement. So, thank you. Yeah. I was like very surprised because I saw the room. I walk in the room, I see, oh, it's huge. I mean, it's going to be like the 10 of us. But no, finally it was full. And I'm really, really happy for how things turned out. There was a lot of participation and many discussions. We had a very strict schedule, but I'm extremely happy because that shows engagement continues to be there and it's growing. So I'm really happy about it. Yeah, so that's about the past. So where do we stand today? We have a number of main topics that we want to tackle. The first one is project integration and collaboration. This is our first, and this is what we are focusing on for today. So I mentioned the SDV Blueprints project. It's really a project of projects, so and has the scope of being our business card. We want to show what concrete use cases can you solve with our projects. Because as I said, having a cake of projects is fantastic, but what do you do with them? You need to show and guide the possible user towards how do I use the project. Here come the blueprints. And again, I want to thank Nachi for driving this, and I want to thank everyone who's participating. So we have today 2 blueprints that are particularly interesting and in the works. So the first is the fleet management system. This is really an end-to-end use case for how do you do a management of a fleet where you can exchange a number of vehicles and you also can exchange platforms that are running in the cloud. And our projects can support there. So this is a first use case. It runs, there is code to it, so go and try it out. Second use case, which is more in the making, but is really promising, is a software orchestration blueprint. So I mentioned we are onboarding like tools, and some of those are orchestration tools, software orchestration tools for running containerized application in the vehicle. This is the new frontier. When will it happen? I don't know, but we are going in this direction. And this is a great blueprint because it's putting together a lot of great projects that are under the purview of the working group, but also a number of different organizations. And that's really what I'm most excited about. Organizations finally breaking the silos, not only contributing code, but willing to work with one another. So, yeah, really cool. Thank you. Yeah, and that also shows in the willingness of going over your own ego and deciding that your project might not be the best fit, that your project might indeed be part of another one. And that, I think, is maybe the biggest sign of people stepping out of their comfort zone and wanting to, for instance, merge their projects with other ones. And this is what we are seeing happening as well. Great. So a question I often hear is, yes, nice, that's yet another middleware. Which middleware is cool? I think everyone uses this word because no one knows what it really means, me included, honestly. But we are more than middleware. I mean, yes, a lot of our projects are located in this functional map on the line of service fabric and communication. We have hardware abstraction layer and communication protocols. We have even in-vehicle running digital twins. That's fantastic. But we are much more than that. And I think that's really important to mention. We are slowly but steadily moving our first steps in the world of tooling and DevOps. So we are onboarding more and more projects in designing, development, testing and validation. Actually, we saw the presentation of OpenDUT. That's actually a project that starts with 5 organizations on board. That's really cool. Deployment, yeah, we don't have anything in process and documentation. That box looks sad, but hey, we're working on it. And yeah, and of course, blueprints spinning the whole, that are spanning the whole spectrum. So we are slowly but steadily evolving, and we are picking over the world for that. We are looking at other projects. So we are looking at other initiatives outside of the working group. In fact, Eclipse Zeno, that's an IoT project, is now also in SDV, in the working group SDV. Zeno is a fantastic and very mature project and is collaborating with our U protocol, which is the other communication protocol that we have on board our working group. We had 2 really great, two people from Thea and Capella coming and presenting to our SDV Community Day. Because if we are not supporting our own Eclipse Foundation projects, then what are we doing? I mean, we see in SDV there is the need and the interest in going towards tooling. But if we are not supporting our own internal tools, why are we here at all? We don't have a community. And I want to make sure that our working group does indeed belong to the community. So these are great first steps. We need to do more. And also, again, looking at the broader picture, we as a working group, we are participating in the EU-funded CSA with the proposal Federate, which also allows us to work closely with our research team. And yeah, that has the scope of creating a roadmap and coordinating the European Union effort when it comes to SDV and open source. So we are slowly peeking over our wall. But there are some things that we need to spend more time on and that are going to be a consistent effort for us now and in the future. Process and standards. There is no way around it. Whenever you talk about automotive, you talk about standards. So right now, the status is automotive SPICE, that's ASPICE for short, and it describes a set of best practices, so a process for producing safe and mature code. We have the functional safety standards, which is the famous ISO 26262, that basically is a collection of guidelines to minimize the risk of accidents. So that should assess the safety of your code and looks at a set of artifacts that need to be checked in order to have a certain certification. And then, of course, we have the cybersecurity standard, which is yet another Pandora vase, which is a collection, again, of guidelines to protect your software in the vehicle so that it is resistant to attacks and it does what it's really supposed to do. What about open source? Well, that is an excellent question. Of course, we are not the only actors here, But we, as a foundation who hosts automotive projects, of course, we need to look into it. So we are using the support of OSPOs within our organizations, for sure. And our standard, let's say, historical contribution is providing the governance. The IP checks, the license scans, and so on. This is what we have been doing so far. But we would like to take a step forward here, because we need to assess the process need within the automotive industry. So what we are doing is we are designing an ad hoc process, which is going to be as lightweight as it possibly can, but to make sure that our projects are as consumable as possible from someone in the automotive industry that wants to adopt them. Because otherwise, we are not going to move away from a design phase, right? We want our project to be used in vehicle. So this is where we are going to be working on. We are defining the project maturity, and we are trying to measure it via KPIs. Good. So where do we go from here? Well, I mentioned tooling. Tooling is essential, and hey, the Eclipse Foundation was born from the Eclipse ID. That sounds like we can use your help here. And this is why I'm really excited to be presenting here today, because you are the broader Eclipse community, and we need your help. I mean, we need to work together. We need to try to close our gaps in our functional map, and we need your help because you're the expert. So we want to reach out to you and want to make sure that we don't reinvent the wheel again. We want to devise an SDV process for automotive-grade software, and that's going to be an iterative process, and it's going to need the collaboration of our own projects, because, of course, if they don't want to do it, no one will. And then we also want to work with other automotive initiatives. So the mantra is here, SDV, it will take a joint industry effort. We are working with the other initiatives, AutoSAR, SOFI, and Covisa. We are the band of the four, I think it was the name, but yeah. So with that, I'd like to thank you. I hope next time every one of you can stand up and say that you have heard and you know what SDV is. And I am open for questions.